Hello and welcome to the NRL Round 13 preview. This will be a tough round to pick. We're 2 days after Origin and we're starting on Friday night, and for all you English fans, it's a big Friday night because both the Rabbitohs and the Raiders are in action. First up at 6 o'clock, we're off to ANZ Stadium for the Rabbitohs versus the Knights. Second versus fifth on the table. And look, with Origin, it's really hard to know who's backing up. Sometimes you only find out now before the game. So look, we'll pretend that they're all there. There's been word that Damien Cook mightn't back up, but we won't know until he hits the field. So we'll just go with it. Bear with me. And it's a big game for the Rabbitohs and for the Burgess brothers, all three of them, because obviously not involved in Origin. The Rabbitohs had 4 players out. I'm expecting huge games from them all, and especially Sam, because Sam is having shoulder surgery immediately after this game. He'll be out for 5 weeks, but with the Origin period, the Bunnies will only play 2 games within this period. So expect a huge game from Sam to leave the Bunnies with a big win. As I said, he'll only miss 2 games. He's out for 5 weeks and he'll come back bigger and better than ever. As for the Knights, well, they're on fire. They've won 5 in a row. There has been word that Kalen Ponga and David Clemmer both may not back up. Look, again, we'll find out. They need them. I think if those two don't back up, the Knights are in trouble. But I think the Knights are in trouble anyway. I think the Bunnies at home should be too strong. I'll back the Rabbitohs by 7 points in that one. Look for Damien Cook to have a big game. And also James Roberts will be making his club return. He's played for the South before, for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. He left the Broncos last week and is slotted straight in. So expect a huge game from James Roberts. He's been struggling, out of favour with Anthony Seibold in reserve. So a big game from James Roberts. Damien Cook, Cody Walker had a disappointing Origin. He'll bounce back. Off the back of the Burgess boys rolling up the field, Rabbitohs to win. Okay, our next game sees another 3 Englishmen on show. In fact, there's 4 because the Tigers are playing the Raiders at Bankwest Stadium. Bankwest, the Tigers have made some sort of agreement. They'll play a few games there as well. They've got about 3 home grounds, the Tigers. Chris McQueen will be turning out for the Tigers, but there's also word that he's being shopped around to some English clubs as Michael Maguire looks to offload a few of his forwards. Ben Madaleno and Russell Packer are the other couple of the other names being bandied about. Look, this is a huge game for both teams. There's only 2 points separate them on the table. I'll show you the table at the end of this preview. Now, for the Englishmen, of course, Josh Hodgson's no longer around for quite a while. Fractured thumb, he'll be out for a few weeks. They're also missing Hudson Young. He accepted a 5-week ban for eye gouging. Look, whether he did or not, that depends which side of the fence you sit, but obviously the match review committee saw it and went, sorry, Ryan, you're out, buddy. Hudson, sorry. Ryan Sutton, that's why I was saying Ryan. Ryan Sutton, big chance. He's still playing off the bench. And this next 5 weeks, so gives him a really big chance to consolidate his spot in that Raiders team. John Bateman was massive last week. He not only gave a boost to the Raiders on the field, but also just his presence off the field just gave the team a boost. And Elliot Whitehead puts in 100% every week, 80-minute effort again. Watch him go this week. And he'll need to go because the seniors are on their way. Robbie Farah and Benji Marshall. They'll be using their seniors card to get out to Parramatta. But beware the elderly. They get wise as they get older, and they are playing some of the best football of their career. They know how to get themselves around the paddock. Robbie Farah's full of guile. This will be a very tight game. And I think the Raiders, they've snapped their 3-game losing streak last week with a tough win against the Bulldogs, and I think they can tough this one out again. Raiders by 4 for me for this one. And Jordan Rapana's back, which is great news because Nick Kotrick injured his knee in the Origin. He played on, but I very much doubt that he'll back up 2 days later. So the Raiders to take that one out. Now, we move on to Saturday. And this is a really interesting game at Mount Smart Stadium to start Super Saturday. The Warriors, untouched by Origin, up against the Melbourne Storm, who they traditionally trouble the Storm anyway, but the Storm have 4 players backing up. And this will be a really, really tough one. The Warriors also had a week off last week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this. The Storm also have travel to take into account. The wing battle is just sensational. So Vunivalu, Addo Carr up against the big water buffalo with the tap dancing shoes on, Ken Mamalo, and David Fusitu'a, the Foos. Mate, when he plays foosball, look out. He's a genius. With Roger Tuivasa-Sheck in great fine fettle at the back. He is playing out of his skin this year, the reigning Dalian medalist. I think the Warriors can cause an upset here. Cody Nikorima, watch him through some tired Storm defence late in the game, late in both halves. And I'm really looking forward to the Battle of the Nines. Cameron Smith, the old stager, up against Isaac Luke, another old stager. And Isaac Luke will want to get one over on the old fella. And I think he will. I actually think the Warriors, they're my upset of the round. Warriors by 6. Now, the middle game on Saturday. Sharks versus Eels. The Eels are travelling to the Bermuda Triangle of the Shire. And this is a very important game. Both teams are on 12 points. There's a real peloton building behind the top 3. You've got the Storm, Rabbitohs and the Roosters, and then you drop down to a whole bunch of teams. So these are really important games when you're matching up against teams on around the same spot on the table. Look, Parramatta did win last week, but it was an understrength Bunnies team. And watch for a big game from Blake Ferguson. With Nick Kotrick potentially injured, Tom Trbojevic is also back this week. But Blake Ferguson, the Blues really missed his power running out as the Maroons smashed him. Blake Ferguson will be looking to lay his cards on the table and tell Brad Fittler, demand Brad Fittler pick him. So watch out for a big game from Fergo. But up against a Sharks team featuring Matt Moylan, Andrew Fafita and Brighton Nakora, and Wade Graham looks like he'll play as well, back from a long stint out. I think at home, it's the Eels are hot and cold. Bronson Cherry got a hat-trick last game against the Dragons. Watch him go again. I think they'll be too strong, and I think the Sharks will win that one by 8, if not more. Now, the night game. This is a really, really tough game to call. Excuse me. The North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Seagulls of Manly up at Townsville. Again, both teams are on 12 points, caught in that pack. The Cowboys are starting to move. Manly are starting to shake. But guess who's back for Manly this week? I mentioned him before. Tommy Turbo, Tom Trbojevic. I'm looking for a big game from him. DCE and Jake Trbojevic, I would expect to back up. They're hard as nails. Although DCE was coming off injury leading into that Origin game. So whether he backs up, we'll find out again. Michael Morgan is actually picked at fullback. There's a bit of an injury crisis in the backs at the Cowboys. So Michael Morgan's been picked at fullback. And Mitchell Dunn, who's a quite a young, classy back rower, he's actually picked in the centres. So expect a pretty, I wouldn't say a flashy game from the Cowboys, not that they play a flashy game anyway. Of course, it'll come off the back of, who else? Jason Taumalolo. And that's where the game will be won and lost, really. If Manly can't stop Taumalolo, expect young Jake Clifford and the largest 5'8" in the world, John Asiata, who's got great skill for a big man. And with Michael Morgan at the back doing the linking, I actually think that the Cowboys can get this one. Tommy Trbojevic does change the Seagulls, though. Don't be surprised if the Seagulls get up. But at home, that sways it for me, Cowboys by 2. Now let's move on to Sunday. And what have we got? We have got a South East Queensland derby. The Broncos on the cusp of the 8 up against the battling Titans. The Titans should have won last week. And the reason they fluffed their lines, all Bryce Cartwright had to do was pop the ball in front of Brian Kelly and they would have won the game in the last seconds. He passed the ball behind him. Kelly had to turn around, and by the time he turned around, Kyle Felt had taken him over the sideline. And that typically is how the Titans is going. They're not far off being a good side, but they just can't. There's no confidence there. Ash Taylor is just the $1 million man, the marquee player for the Titans. Really, at the moment, he's playing about $1 worth. I wish I was on that kind of money for $1 million. I could do that job at my work. He's just not earning his money at the moment. I know it's a lot of pressure, but with the marquee value, you've got to be a marquee man. Ash Taylor's not doing that at the moment, which is putting pressure on Tyrone Roberts and Tyrone Peachey and Bryce Cartwright off the bench. Look for Anthony Milford, Suncorp specialist, and I think he'll send the Titans packing back down the M1. Now, the Broncos do have a few guys backing up from Origin, but I expect people like Matthew Lodge and Tavita Pangai Jr. to step up and improve their workload. They'll have massive impact. The Titans, it's now or never. They're already 6 points out of the 8. Garth Brennan is not only sitting at the Last Chance Saloon, he's on about his third drink and he's ordered some rope to make a noose, I think. They're in trouble, and the Broncos by 16, and sayonara to the Titans. Now, the other game, our Sunday afternoon game, and this is an absolute rip terror of a game. The Roosters go to the foot of the mountains to play the Panthers. Now, the Roosters are finding how hard it is to back up after winning a premiership, and they're struggling a little bit. But they're playing a Panthers team that is struggling to find points. They need to win. They're on 8 points. They need to win this game. The Roosters have a couple of guys backing up. Now, Ryan Hall has been named on an extended bench in jersey 19 for you English fans. Now, I just think the Panthers, they need to win, but I don't think they will. I think the Roosters have also lost Jared Waerea-Hargreaves for that head attack on Kalen Ponga. But I think the Roosters, they've got enough class to get the job done, minus a couple of players. Luke Keary's still out. Drew Hutchison's making his NRL debut for the Roosters, former Dragon lower grader. But look out for Liam Martin off the bench for the Panthers. He's my new favourite player. He's only got one gear, full throttle. Watch him go. And we finish up with the Battle of the Battlers. There's a Monday game. It's the Queen's birthday weekend here, long weekend here in Australia. G'day, Lizzie. How you going? Bulldogs versus the Dragons. It's a must-win. Look, the Dogs are gone. The Dragons have lost 5 straight, but if you want to play someone coming off 5 straight, it's got to be the Bulldogs. And Storm and Norman's back. Corey's back, baby, and I expect him to lead the Dragons. They'll sneak past the Bulldogs. You normally only have to score more than 16 points to beat the Bulldogs, and I think the Dragons can do that. The Dragons to win. Now let's quickly go to the table. Brought to you by this week, the Cane Toad Coach Whisperer. Kevy Walters paid $5,500 an hour for that session. Oh my God, I wish I could get that. Storm on top. Rabbitohs, Roosters, Knights, Eels make up the 8. Look at the Broncos, watch them, watch the Cowboys. Dragons down and Warriors, look out. You can ride off the Titans and the Bulldogs. Kevy, love your work, mate. Look, it worked for you. Queensland won, and Kevy's, look, he won't mention the Blues by name. He's also spouting stuff like, we're going to win. Oh, mate, look, he'll probably end up doing some Reiki hands-free on you if you ask him. Kevy's so positive at the moment. I love it, Kevy. That's your round 13 preview. Good luck to the Englishman on show, and good luck with your tips. And watch Serious About Rugby League on YouTube, please, and get on the website. Great website, great YouTube channel. If you love your rugby league, Serious About Rugby League.